Now the Conroe police were lying when they had brought me into the Montgomery County Jail September 18, 2018. And they had stripped me very quickly of my clothes and had put me into a holding cell. And by this time, they had started lying and saying that Austin was holding my baby. So I heard Officer D. Schreider I heard C. Adams talking to the women at booking. And I seen Officer D. Schreider typing up the report inside of the Montgomery County Jail. Now he was typing inside of the Montgomery County Jail in the system database arrest record and saying that this was what occurred for them to charge me with this, that, and the third, with these 4 different charges. And so originally when he was typing up information and I asked him what was I being charged with when they first brought me to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, before they said they were charging me and brought me to the Montgomery County Jail, I asked Officer D. Schreider what was I being charged with while they had me at the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. And he said that I was not being charged with anything because the witness statement matched up with what I said took place, which is what I'm telling y'all took place. And that's what the witness told y'all. And I told them everything, and they had the information leading up to when the witness was engaged in the altercation where Austin was attacking me. So they were well aware of Austin being violent with me in my home and running me from my home and being violent with me in this restaurant with this witness. So now D. Schreider and C. Adams had brought me into the Montgomery County Jail and started lying after they said they were going to make up and trump up these charges on me. So let me go into that. Bear with me, y'all. I've been severely abused. And he said D. Schreider was quiet while he was typing up this report in the Montgomery County Jail, and I didn't know what he was typing because he had told me that he had the real story from the witness that matched up with what I said. So I didn't know what he was typing inside of the system, inside of the Montgomery County Jail, when he was having me booked in on 4 charges of child endangerment, assault with a deadly weapon, dispersing a weapon in a public place, child negligence. And I had asked Officer C. Adams, did she really feel like they needed to charge me for protecting myself and my son? I was bleeding, and then I know that I was still carrying the child. And C. Adams said, you shot him while he was holding your baby, and said it in front of all of the women in front of booking. And I said, what do you mean? I said, he was not holding my baby. Because I asked her, do you think it's right to charge a pregnant, I didn't say I was pregnant, but at the time I said, do you think that it was right for you to charge an African American woman for protecting herself and her child? And she said, he was holding your baby. You shot him while he was holding your baby. So this is how C. Adams lied to switch up the story. And this woman had been lying in Conroe, Texas, showing up to a police call and then trying to get me to get in the squad car for Austin abusing me when I was first pregnant with Melby. And now she saw her opportunity as a racist white woman to lie and say he was holding your baby. But the witness said that he was being stupid with my baby. So your play on words almost had me murdered and could possibly have gotten my child raped by Cynthia and everybody while I was in that jail, while you were lying and saying that he was holding my baby. Why would I shoot him while he was just holding my baby in front of people that told you what really happened? And you still brought me into the Montgomery County Jail, and I'm gonna have your badge for it, like I said that I would. And I'm out the jail, and the truth is coming out, and you're gonna have to pay for what you did. And I'm gonna have her badge. So let me go ahead and finish telling you. So she spread this to the white women. White women are very loyal to their kind. They loyal enough to lie even when they know the truth, to protect white people. They already was going to be willing to lie and switch up the story, regardless, even if she would have came in telling the people and booking the truth. They still would have been racist and tried to switch it up a little bit, but she came in there telling these racist white women that I shot Austin in the leg while he was holding my baby, and completely lied. Right after having gotten a statement from me at the department in front of the investigator, right after having left the scene with witnesses that had dialed 911, people knowing what took place, and lied like this to the women in booking. And I said, see, Adams, that is not what happened. I said he was not holding my baby. He was being violent with my son when I shot him. And then she started creeping to me like this with her hands out to attack me with the other women in the front of booking in the Montgomery County Jail, and with white males. And Dee Schreider was sitting right there looking up at me as these white people were coming to attack me for saying that Austin was being violent with me and that they were not telling the truth to the women at booking about what took place and why they were booking me into the Montgomery County Jail. They did not even tell the truth from the jump. And I didn't know what Dee Schreider typed up. And I'm going to tell you what he typed up. And remember to follow along with me to where I get to the point where when I was released, they gave me a copy of the arrest record. And boy, oh boy, did he type up complete lies. After having had the information from me and this witness. So Dee Schreider set me up to be murdered in the Montgomery County Jail and tried to set me up to get 99 years in prison for protecting myself and my son, and tried to set my son up to be raped and murdered by these racist whites in Conroe, Texas, and to kill a baby in my body. Black men. Do you think I would want my biracial son to get on the police force and sell out black people like that? How dare you do that? Because you trying to be up under some racist white people on a police force. When you get on the force as a mixed race black male, you need to make a difference. And lying to be cool with white people on the force is not how you get ahead. That's how you lose your job. And I trusted him when I told him the truth, and when the witness told him the truth at the scene of the shooting. And he was the one who typed up the police report that they held me on for 11 months trying to murder me pregnant, and he never came forward with the truth. And I want his badge. I want him off of the force. Period. Him and C. Adams. So then they put me in rooms with white women that were saying that they saw me on the news. And they said that the detective that I asked to have my sister Shanara call the news and tell the truth that Austin was attacking me and I shot him, and that they were booking me for protecting myself and my son. He called and contacted the local news and lied. And said that I was a crazy black woman that shot a man holding his baby and put that on the news. And that he was white and that I was black. And that he was a young white kid. And that I was a crazy, deranged black woman. That's what the investigator, that's what they told me that they saw on the news, and that they said that they told the citizens of whoever was watching the news that I would go to jail for a long time after they lied about the report. I never saw the news thing. I looked up the archives of all the Houston news stations, Conroe, local news, and could not find any article that they posted or anything. It must have been something that they did just right then that night, or these women were lying about saying that they had seen me on the news. But this is what they told me. And they put me in tanks with racist white women that knew that I shot Austin, and they were trying to fight me inside of the units. And I told them that I will fight you back. You're not finna bully me you're not finna be for protecting myself and being racist. And I will fight y'all up in here. And they moved me because the racist white women, and I found out that they put me in tanks with these girls on purpose, and they had prostitution and drug charges. This is where they tried to start setting me up to say that I was a drug addict and a prostitute. I found out in the inmate handbook that they were not supposed to put me with an aggravated assault charge and with a deadly weapon in a tank with women who were only in there for drugs and prostitution, and it was a setup. And these women are a part of the Ku Klux Klan with charges in the jail, and were trying to set me up out of that unit. They never gave me a pregnancy test when they brought me inside of the Montgomery County Jail. They never asked me if I was pregnant, never gave me a pregnancy test, were not concerned, but did know that I was pregnant before I even knew that I was still pregnant, and had already had it set up to murder me. Pregnant. And they ended up moving me into 2 tanks where the white girls tried to fight me, then moved me into another tank where the white girls tried to fight me, and then moved me to the back of the segregated housing unit after all these white women tried to fight me. And I was screaming to Sergeant Vales that Austin was attacking my baby, and y'all took my baby from me. And that's what I was crying. I got on my knees crying, y'all took my baby from me, because I was a stay-at-home mother taking care of my son, and Austin got out of prison attacking me with my son and ran us from my home, and they took my baby from me at the scene and gave him to Cynthia and Joseph, and they threatened to rape him, and I'm gonna get to that part. Sorry, y'all, this is why I'm smoking, because they threatened to rape my baby, and they're trying to punk me out on the streets, and I am pregnant, and they tried to kill this baby in me, so I don't know what else other than to do than just smoke my little black and mild and tell y'all what the hell is going on. It's better than me fighting them knowing that I'm pregnant. It's better than me fighting them knowing that they got my baby and threaten to do stuff to him and threaten to kill us in these facilities out here. I'm not trying to fight you, but you threaten to rape my child, and you're lying, and you got the entire state of Texas and the entire United States. You got Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms allowing you to try to set me up to be murdered out of her city. So yeah, I got a reason to be puffing on this black and mild right now, even though I'm pregnant. Trust me, they threatened to rape my child and kill my child. And then think that I don't have a right to get justice for my son and my newborn that's in my body, that I do believe is going to still survive, because it's kicking. It's still alive. It's kicking. So I want justice for my children. And so, okay. So they put me in the segregated housing unit in the back of the jail and started trying to say I was a mental patient for screaming that they took my baby and that he was trying to hurt my baby and that they were being racist. And they were trying to harm me, but I was on my knees when I was saying it, and I was saying I'm not in a position to harm y'all. I'm on my knees, so do not come and attack me for saying that y'all are racist. Y'all took my baby. You're lying. He was attacking me. And then Sergeant Vales told me that she knew that Austin was violent, that she knew that they had responded to calls where he had been abusing me, that she knew he had been in and out of the jail, that he was a jailbird, and that she was sorry, but she had to move me to the segregated housing unit. Then she did with 2 other white women, and they brought me back there and tried to bring me to my death without me knowing what it was that they were setting up. And they brought me to the segregated housing unit, and they started having people come to the cell and threaten me with black gloves on to come into my cell if I did not stop screaming that he was attacking me and that they were being racist. And then they moved me to the psych ward because I continued to scream that they were racist and telling about all the racist stuff they did to me and my son to God. I said these whites have did this to me while I was pregnant with my son. They tried to make me have my birth to my baby in a parking lot. They done did all this stuff to me. They have done so much wickedness to me that I had to pour my heart out to God for them to sit there and lie on a police report and have me charged with all of this stuff for protecting myself and my son, and then have the nerve to lie about it. If you're going to tell that I shot a gun, tell the truth about why I shot the gun. Tell the truth about what was going on. Why would you charge me for shooting a gun and then lie about it? If it was so bad for me to shoot a gun, if it was so bad for me to shoot Austin, why did you lie about what took place? Why did you lie about the fact that he was being violent with my son? Why did you lie about the 911 calls that I was calling? Why did you lie about his record? Why did you go through all this to have my family and friends setting me up on the street so you could pay me out to be a prostitute after you took my baby and threatened to rape him? If I was so bad, why could you just not tell the truth and let the people judge me for themselves? If the truth came out, then the people can judge the truth and say if Andrea needs to go to prison, or if Andrea needs to get the death sentence, or if we need to kill her baby and her or rape her child. Let the people decide after you told the truth, and they did not do that. And they never did, and they still not doing it, and they still trying to stop the truth from coming out. If the charges was dropped, why am I still talking about it, right? I'm going to continue to talk about it so you'll understand what's going on right now and why I'm being set up outside right now. So they had me in a segregated housing unit, moved me to the psych ward now, and we're trying to have psychiatrists come up to the psych ward and try to label me a mental patient so that I could not go to trial, and so that they did not have to release the evidence that Austin was abusing me, and they were trying to murder me without any sort of trial. And the psych ward people was coming and trying to talk to me, and I was very angry, and I was throwing trays inside of the cell because the white women were lying on the records and then trying to come up to my cell and pretend like they cared about me while refusing to have the sergeants and refusing the phone to me and refusing the sergeants because I needed them to know that I had been calling 911 before the shooting asking for help. And I did talk to the sergeant, and I went off on him about the fact that I had been calling 911 and y'all have me incarcerated where I was calling people trying to get help before I shot him. And the sergeant told me to write down everything, to not make him come in my cell, to calm down, because I had stripped myself of all of my clothes and was like, this is what y'all want to see. Y'all want to see black women butt naked and distraught, you know, and yelling and all of this stuff. This is what you want to see because you're lying on me and my child and trying to give me all this time in prison, and y'all holding me in here and refusing to bring me a phone to call my family and let them know what y'all are trying to do. And they had refused me a phone for several hours and were trying to frame me inside of the cell. And I had already contacted Shanara Collins when I was in the holding cell in booking, and Shanara lied to me, and Shanara said, oh, that boy been trying to kill you. When I told her I shot Austin in the holding cell before they did all this and took me and put me in these racist cells with these white women before they put me in a segregated housing unit, Shanara said, oh, that boy been trying to kill you. She said, oh, I got the money in my account. I'm about to bond you out right now. You my sister. Lying ass bitch. Lying ass bitch. Yeah, I said it. And they cursing all over records and saying all kind of dumb shit. So for me to tell the truth that you was a lying ass bitch and you was my sister and you knew he been trying to kill me and you didn't bond me out and lied about why you didn't do it, because they was trying to set me up to be murdered instead of bonding me out, and you knew from the jump, and then let me come to Atlanta, Georgia, trying to flee after the charges was dropped, and called you, and you ignored me and let them try to set me up to be murdered in Atlanta. But Shanara never cared about me. But she knew the evidence because I loved her, and I called her, and I told her about my life, my baby daddy, when he was in prison, all my business, and that's how you repaid me. Her and her mama, Troy Collins, done always been trifling. And I tell you about Troy, you ain't got shit on my mama. You ain't got shit on Tony L. Ray. Believe that. Because she got married to my dad thinking that she was better than my mama. And I got to tell you now, for you and your daughter not coming through for me and trying to run up behind that white man that got out of prison attacking me, baby, you ain't got nothing on Tony Ray. Because Tony Ray came from the grave while I was in that cell and said, y'all not going to murder my baby up in this jail. And you ain't do a damn thing, Troy. You ain't prettier than Tony. Because she was always thinking she looked better than my mama. No, you don't. And I look just like her, and you ain't got a damn thing on me. Nah, because I'm going to get into Troy. She ain't got a damn thing on me. Because I was calling Troy, too, in my apartment, and telling her they was being racist to me in Conroe before Austin got out of prison. So for her to run up behind these white people, and I told her that they was trying to murder me in that Conroe, Texas, before Austin even got out of prison. So how you gonna run up behind them white people? And she did. Guess the apple don't fall too far from the tree. Don't fall too far from the tree. And they son served in the military. And the military was trying to murder me in the jail. And that's my stepbrother. And you think he didn't bar me out with that military money knowing your sister in jail for protecting herself? Did he bar me out? Hell no. He coming through for me now? Hell no. So Shanara lied and told me she was going to buy me out and that she had the money. And I was crying, telling her what happened. My bond, they gave me a $50,000 bond and a $1,500 bond, and I believe it was Tracy Gilbert who set the bond, or another white man, but I believe it was him. And my criminal charges had not been assigned to a certain Georgia's courtroom that I knew of yet, but it ended up in Patty Maginer's courtroom. And Tracy was whatever judge that did the bond had threatened me and told me that if I came up there and told him that I was not guilty before he set the bond, he said he would add 2 more zeros onto my bond, which would have made it $500,000. So I had to get up in front of him and allow him to lie. And he lied at the bond hearing and went up there and said that that Austin called me a bitch in my home and that I shot him. He lied and said for me not to say anything about him lying, or he would put 2 zeros on my bond and make it $500,000. So my bond was $50,000, and I told Shanara how much it was, and she was like, "Oh, I'm big ballin'. I got that. I got money. I'm ballin'. I got the $5,000. I'm about to come get you right now." And lied. And so they took me to these units with these white women that tried to fight me. I didn't know that I was still pregnant. They knew, but I didn't. And they was trying to fight me. And they moved me for standing my ground. I could tell y'all about how the white girls were trying to fight me later, but I don't have much time to tell y'all what the police did. Y'all know these white girls is racist. I ain't got to keep going into that. They tried to fight me in 3 other units, and then they transported me to the segregated housing unit. And Shanara told me that she was not going to pay the bond because one of my sisters, my biological sister, Shanara is my stepsister. One of my biological sisters said that she would pay the bond. And this is how Shanara weaseled her way out of not helping me, because she said she would. So now she was saying, oh, well, one of your sisters, biological sisters, I have 2. Larissa Jones is my older sister, and Shakina Jones is my younger sister. And she said, well, one of your sisters said that they'll bond you out and that I don't have to do it. And I was like, okay, who? She said, call Shakina, my little sister. And Shakina is in Texas, and she has a great deal on setting me up to be murdered and trying to set it up like I was never pregnant. And I got to make a whole damn video about Shakina, because I don't even worry about my ID. Don't even worry about that. I need to tell on your little ass and be done with you and let God help me to get whatever I need and say, fuck your little ass. I'm done with your little evil ass. Always jealous of me, wanting to see people tear your sister down so you could say you was better. Shakina, you will never be better than me, especially not with setting your sister up to be murdered. I don't care how bad you try to have people making me look on the streets. You will never amount to anything that I ever was with setting me up to be murdered. Because, baby, I would have went to hell hell and back for you. I would have went to hell and back for your kids, and these white people know it. And they know it's wrong with how you selling me out, and they know I love your little ass like that. And that's okay, because that's what Illuminati bitches do. They sell out their family to be murdered and killed and run up behind white folks, and they look at you like a piece of shit because they know what you did to your family. They know not to trust you. They know you ain't shit because you set your own damn sister up to be murdered for their ass. Now I don't give a fuck no more, because they still trying to go through with the murder. So I don't give a fuck no more about none of my family and telling about your involvement with this shit. Fuck you. They threatened to rape my baby, and you had everything to do with it, Shakina. So let me go on ahead and finish telling you. So Shanara said call Shakina while I was in the segregated housing unit, and Shakina was in Texas. Now Shakina had come to my home and visited me while Austin was in prison and was trying to come live up in my house. And God said no, because he said the only reason why these women is trying to come up in your house and live with you is because you got a white man and he about to get out of prison. Because they trying to come up in your house for this white man, trying to get up under this white man that you got. And he warned me about my friends and all the women, any women try to come and live up in my home. And Shakina denied me to come live in her home when I was pregnant with Melbourne, and I was asking her to leave my home before I called to have Austin put in prison when he was 6 weeks old. I was pregnant, being abused by Austin 6 to 9 months old, 9 months pregnant. And I asked Shakina, could I come and live with her in San Marcos, because Austin was abusing me and I didn't want my baby to be born in that environment, and we were sisters and it was my first child. And I had my own 2-bedroom place, but Austin was abusing me in my place. And that's why I was asking my sister, could I just come live there instead of having him knowing where I'm staying at and coming to my home abusing me pregnant with this child, well, with my first child. And Shakina had told me yes, but then when I packed up all of my stuff to sneak away from Austin, he and Cindy, because Cindy was not trying to let me get away either, and when I packed up my bags and put it in the car to leave, Shakina stopped answering my phone calls and forced me to give birth to my son with Austin around, where he was trying to abuse me, and I had to call the police, and he went to prison when my son was 5 or 6 weeks old. And I raised my son without any help from my family. I had financial assistance from Joseph and Cindy, but I did not have any help raising him from them. As you can see on the pictures, it's always me and Melbourne the whole time that Austin was in prison. And I put month to month to month to month from the time that he went to prison, all the pictures of us. It was thousands from month to month to month. There was not a moment that I did not account for showing me raising him right in my home. And Austin wasn't there. I had to call the police and get him up out of there. And this is why I was telling Cynthia I was not sure if he could come back in my home with my little boy, 22 months old, after he was released for these charges for assault. He had already been on a probation, 2-year felony probation for assault on a public servant. And he was doing this to me and my son in our home while my son was just a newborn baby. And I had to get him up out of there. And Shakina knew this, because I told Shakina that he was abusing us when I came to visit her. So she came to visit me, see me living good, and I told her Austin is about to get out of prison, and I don't want you up in here with him abusing me, and you can't have two common enemies up in your house. You can't have a man that's abusing you and a little sister that's jealous of you, trying to always sabotage you. You can't have both of them up in your motherfucking house with your little baby, because she would have been lying about what happened up in the house when he was abusing me up in the house, with her over there lying about shit and she wasn't even fucking there. And so she knew that he was abusing me, and I told Shakina that I was afraid when I came to visit her at Vanessa's house, where she was staying in Humble, Texas. And this was before Austin got out of prison, around the time she asked to come and live with me. And I told Shakina I was afraid of Austin coming back in my home abusing me, and that I could not let her come and live with me, that I needed to get my life situated. And God had already said no. So I did not allow her to come. And so while I was in this jail, I called Shakina from the segregated housing unit. And I said to my sister, who knew that I had been living in Conroe, Texas for about 3 years, and she knew I was pretty stable, just had a small child and needed to let him grow up a little bit and get a job and get on my feet. I had a good life other than the racism of these people in the community and my baby daddy and his mother. My sister knew I was a real well-rounded mother, and they thought that I was barren and couldn't have children, and was teasing me, saying that I couldn't have kids. And then I gave birth to this little beautiful baby boy, and God said they was jealous because my baby was cuter than theirs. God said it. I didn't say it. God said it. God said that they was jealous. He said all the black women and everybody that wouldn't help me was jealous because my baby was cuter. That's what he said out of his mouth. He said, y'all just jealous because Andrea baby was cuter than y'all's. Period. That's the only reason why you even doing what you doing and hating on her like that. Because I got a baby by a white man. And that don't mean that that's why he cuter. I mean, he get his looks from his mom, you know, but God said he was cuter. Period. And so, my sister answered the phone and told me that she would pay my bond when I was in a unit. So I called her first when I was in one of the first units where the white girls tried to jump me. And then my sister was telling me that she had paid my bond already and said it was processing. And they tried to fight me in there, and she stopped answering the phone. And then she said that the bond was paid, and so they had tried to fight me in 2 units and moved me to the 3rd unit. And I called, my sister kept calling, and she said to me that, God give me the word, what did Shakina say? She said, I didn't tell you that the bond was processing. She said that she told me that she was getting a loan and that the loan was processing, but that's a lie, because you can pull up the phone recordings if you can, and you will hear Shakina telling me that the loan already went through and that she paid my bond and that it was processing. And when you in jail, you asking specifically, did you pay my bond? And she said that she did pay my bond and that it was processing. And she said that she had taken out a loan on her vehicle, on her car, to get the loan, and this is what she told me, and that it was already processed, and that she was processing the loan, that she was processing the bond for me to get out. And I kept calling to see if I was still in the system or if they had processed my bond, and they never did process it. So I kept calling, and she stopped answering my phone calls, and then they brought me to the segregated housing unit. And my sister, before they brought me to the segregated housing unit, in the 3rd unit, my sister picked up and said that that she did not say that she had paid my bond. She said that the loan was processing, not my bond, and she lied, because she told me that she said that my bond was processing, and she was lying to me. And then I said, well, did the loan go through? Did the loan process? And she said yes. Y'all gotta excuse my camera, y'all, because I done dropped my whole damn phone. They finna try to make my damn phone go out on me and shit. Try to make my fucking phone go out on me while I'm trying to put out this damn information. And that don't mean try to shut it down neither, because it's still working. So they done shut down 2 of my cell phones, trying to leave me out here stranded with this information.